Comprehend this. I want you to know it because I love you. It's not so you can beat yourself up and blame yourself, but you must realize that we bring on our own pain. I can speak from personal experience when I say that any fear I have focused on a lot has come true. We all do this unknowingly, so the goal here isn't to make you feel guilty, but to bring this unconscious part of you to consciousness because, as Carl Jung once said, if you don't, your unconscious will control your life and you'll blame it on fate. This is not to mention that because your childhood was deeply unconscious, it was heavily influenced by the unconscious programming of those who were around you. But the moment you realized this, the economic collapse stopped. Napoleon Hill talks about how once you fully awaken your conscious faculty, you begin to control most of your life. As we get older, we become programmed by the masses, and their fears become our fears, and so on. However, even when the masses manifest, you have the choice to hold your ideal course of action in your consciousness, or to choose not to react to it and think accurately rather than fear-based thinking. This is done in order to make this unconscious programming conscious so that we are not to blame for it. Aversion to criticism, fear of being sick, fear of losing a loved one, fear. Soft aging and a fear of dying. Neville Goddard asserts that we must look inside of ourselves to determine the source of our living situations, since these anxieties are what ultimately leads to a man's misery in life. You know, if you are afraid of losing money, it will inevitably happen. If you are afraid of being cheated on, however, it may not actually be that you are afraid of being cheated on. Rather, it may be that you feel unworthy or that you have other limiting beliefs. This is not to argue that thinking about something once and it happens. Rather, it is our continued focus on a certain state of fear that causes it to become a reality. As original as our inner talking, because that is the only thing that may generate dread. The drama of your life is being written as you write and then act on your own screenplay. And the more you focus on a particular moment in your drama, the more real it becomes until it becomes so real that you lose yourself in it. Inner talking is like your script in a movie. When you are ready to talk to a gorgeous girl, you realize dread is a false reality that you can create factual in a matter of seconds. And for socially anxious people, it is the tightening in their chest or gut or the increase in pulse rate. The first physical sign of our internal dialogue is an emotional response. Any thought that doesn't feel good is your inner being telling you that it is not true. It has no basis in reality unless you give it. When you are in fear, simply affirms that fear is the main cause of the misery in this world. The good thing is that it is a false thought, because any thought that doesn't feel good is your inner being telling you that it is not true. It has no basis in reality unless you give it. When you are in fear, simply affirms that fear is the cause of the misery in this. You tell your mind, I don't know, do we ever know the full picture? Aren't we always speculating and predicting? Our mind bases its predictions always on false or limited and incomplete data. So how can you be so sure? The only real fear is when you are standing in front of a scary situation. There are infinite possibilities in every single situation of our lives, but our mind makes it so that only fear is the truth. If you do not panic, there is a good chance that the animal will leave you alone. However, if you panic and flee in fear, you will be pursued and hunted by a bully who feeds on your fear. Do you see the point that the moment you recognize fear for what it is, a false fact created by your mind but not yet firmly grounded in your reality, is the moment you start to live freely? Because the wonderful thing is that we do not know, we never know the entire picture, we never know. This does not mean that you stop being cautious and start jumping off of buildings. It simply means that you stop anticipating rejection when you are about to approach a girl, that you stop fearing loss of money but instead get excited to earn more, that you stop worrying more about good health than ill health, that you stop worrying about existing and instead start creating your future. It involves recognizing fear and then returning to your desired result. Remember that just as easily as we can materialize fear, we can also do the opposite with a little bit of practice. Since most of us have been conditioned with fear-based thinking for several decades now, don't expect to suddenly become fearless. Instead, concentrate on growing more fearless every day. See psychological fear for what it is, an imposter hidden in a mirage of apparent security. The manifestation of your worst fears, which we refer to as the sixth sense or see I knew it, no you didn't know it. You created it again. This is not to place the blame on ourselves, rather, it is to become aware of the shadow that is attached to us, a parasite sucking the happiness out of us. Once you see it, however, it can't hurt you or seize control of you. Take control back, start living how you want, and your life will be guided by your desires.